leading families to seek God's truth in everyday life, life. Leading families to seek God's truth in everyday life, life.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? My name is Mario Guadarrama. I am your co-host, and as with me always is my beautiful wife,
Brittany Guadarrama.
Yes, love you, sweetie.
Love you.
Yeah. Well, it's been a minute.
It has. We are still alive.
Yes, we are still alive. We're kicking. So last time we had a little thing in our last episode. We were quite busy.
Yes.
Quite busy.
Yes.
And now in this little moment, we actually are really relaxed. Summer season. We had between our son Victor, and because we live far away and he's in a private Christian school, we have to drive every day.
Indeed.
And then, if you guys recall, my wife confessed that she did her first year of what?
It was the first semester of Victory Bible College.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Woo!
Victory Bible College.
Yes.
Lovely. Yes. So, and then, of course, between me working as a sound engineer at the church and doing the counseling at the office, it was a very, very, very busy season. But then again, it's not an excuse. But we are learning how to balance out sneaking in episodes to where we need to be more intentional about it. So thank you for your grace. Thank you for your patience. And we're going to get to it today. So today's topic is how to protect your relationship. And this is a vital thing to where you have to do every single day, when it comes to your relationship. You have to do it daily.
Right.
Because if you don't, the enemy creeps in very easily and quickly. And before you know it, you're just like, you hit a speed bump.
How did we get here?
You hit a pothole, or worst case scenario, and I'm talking metaphorically, you fall into a pit.
Yeah.
And both of you are not trying to figure out, how do we get out of this? It's dark, it's ugly, it's murky, and sometimes the very reason why we got there in the first place, a lot of times it's because of choice. We made choices or lack of choices, and this is the consequence. So I'm a firm believer that you need to be proactive rather than reactive in a relationship.
Especially with something as important as a marriage.
Yes. So, again, how to protect your relationship. So the first question I have for you, wife, is one way we can protect our marriage is who has access to you.
It's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, there are several ways that you can look at this, but one of the first ones that I have always been very guarded about in our marriage is simply this. If you are not married, you're definitely not going to have a lot of weight when it comes to words that are going into my ears. Okay?
That's so true.
I need that person to be very, very, very knowledgeable and long walking in their own marriage to where they have a lot of victories as well as defeats, and they learned from their defeated moments. You see what I'm saying?
And also even less weight for those that have been divorced.
That is correct.
Yes, they can share wisdom with you because they have been married, but it was not in the end successful. And I'm not saying that every divorce is a failure, but just taking into consideration, hey, this person is giving me advice based on a relationship that is no longer in their life.
Right.
So just, if you're not married, lesser value. And if you're divorced, even less of a value.
Right.
Just not saying that the divorced person is bad or that, it's, they don't have anything to say, but it's just whenever there's better options out there is what I'm trying to say.
Take, for instance, that when we get, you and I, when we get knowledge from somebody, hey, guess what? You and I have already been married for 17 years. So we have walked through a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, we always hear somebody out, right? We always give grace and that opportunity because there might be a word from the Lord that is above and beyond their knowledge or their experience that needs to be given to us. But what we are saying is that there is a balance that, hey, if that person has had 3 divorces and they only been and they're in their 4th one and they've only been married for 2 years, it's like, okay, hey, I love you. Thank you for sharing that with me, but I'm not going to put a lot of weight in that simply because you and I have 17 years. Okay,
right. In the same relationship.
Yes. So that's what there's a balance that you'll need to carry and use your discernment. Okay.
Correct.
First and foremost, you take those words or knowledge that is given to you by anybody, and you go home and you prayerfully consider it. Yeah. God, is this something that I need to look into? Is this something that I need to cast out? And when you do this in this fashion, you will get great clarity on how to move forward with the issue, whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing, who has access to your marriage or to your relationship? Second is, hey, guess what? We stay away. You've seen it in a lot of reels lately, right? We stay away from the unmarried.
Yeah.
Okay. We stay away from the unhappily married. Okay.
That's a sneaky one.
Yes. We stay away from those broken marriages. Okay. And we stay away from the divorced marriages.
Yeah.
We don't let them have access to that. Okay.
Correct.
Not to say that, again, they're they don't have the knowledge that is needed for us. Okay. It's just that when you are in those seasons, okay, and when unfortunate things break down in their relationship, there tends to be an emotion that is connected to those moments.
Yeah.
And with a high percentage, they bleed out by nature in conversation. And it's always in a negative fashion.
That I wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying. And also a lot of their advice seems to stem from an experience that they have had. And maybe they're not so clear to hear what the Lord has for you, but they're like, okay, this is from the Lord and it's based off of their experience.
Yep.
And their experience is not that great. So you just have to really be careful and use discernment whenever you're talking to somebody that has been through a betrayal in their marriage or something hard. And okay, is this from the God or is this their experience and what they have walked through speaking to me?
Exactly. Because when you're in those situations and you're in an unfortunate season like that to where the relationship fails, okay, and you have to come out of that and you have to rebuild, yes, there tends to be an emotion that is connected to that. And in unfortunate situations, they will chime in. And instead of allowing the Holy Spirit to move through them, they're allowing that bad moment with emotion talking through them.
Yeah. And I have had it where I'm talking about a struggle we're having and another person gets triggered by the struggles that we were previously walking through, and then they start to speak out of that trigger.
Yep.
And I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but I'm really not going to put a lot of weight into this because I can see that you're being triggered by this.
And I want to let you guys know that when these moments happen, there actually is no need to speak out and say, "Hey, you're triggered."
Yeah.
Hey, you're not speaking, from a place of where you're in tune with the Holy Spirit. No.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a correcting moment for that. What I'm saying is that you smile, you're intentional in listening, and you pour out that grace. But then you take that information and you go home and you lift it up in prayer.
Yeah.
Is this something I need to consider, or is this something I just need to let it rest?
Yeah.
And not give it weight.
Exactly.
Okay? Because more importantly is that if you are aware and your own discernment kicks in, you'd be like, wow, this person's really hurt. Obviously, they're talking through emotions. It's more of a negative connotation that they're speaking about, and they don't have an uplifting thing that they're trying to give me. They have been triggered. And so guess what? Pray for them.
Yeah.
Pray for them. That's what they need in those moments, because after all, we're here by design to disciple one another. And if you have gone through that moment, or if you've gone through several situations to where you have a process on how to get to the other side in a godly way, maybe later on you can share that with that person, but you don't correct them in that moment.
Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly.
Because, again, they love you enough to share. It's just, it's what I refer to as good intentions, bad outcome.
Exactly.
So, what was that question we had there? Okay, yeah. Who has access? Now, secondary thing or third that we have about who has access, simply this. Physically speaking, I do not allow myself to be one-on-one with a female privately in a room. I make sure there are other people in the room if we happen to strike up conversation. Okay? When it comes to physicality of, hey, Mario, how you doing? And they rush up to me, whether it's at church, whether it's at a park, a social event, a birthday party, whatever, I'm very quickly to turn sideways because I see them coming in quick, fast, in a hurry with a hug or something. And so I will turn sideways and put my arm out. And then when they come in, I land a plane. I put my hand down and I put it specifically on their shoulder, and I don't go anywhere else. I give a side hug to every female, and that is it. The only ladies that I ever hug full hugs, okay, first and foremost is my wife.
Yeah.
Second is any female family member. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how I guard my marriage when it comes to that. Okay.
Right.
Physicality wise, what does that look like on your end?
So for me, what I do physically to safeguard our marriage is I actually dress incredibly modest. Especially nowadays, you can
I would agree with that.
To the stores and get teeny tiny little shorts
or maybe that's a trend.
It is a trend, and I'm like, wow, I would not be comfortable wearing these, but I do see some girls wear them.
Yes.
It's just not my personal preference nor conviction. But I do dress modest. Even in the summer, like, it's hot. It's hot in Oklahoma. And, I'm really having to pray into God, how can I dress modestly with it being 95 degrees plus? And, I'm finding that linen is surprisingly breathable. And if I wear linen pants it's actually the same to me as wearing a dress.
Right.
So that's been really helpful as well. But yeah, I don't wear anything low cut. I don't wear anything very short. I really don't allow for men to gaze upon me like that.
Right. So I want you to speak a little about how, especially in this last year, going back to college, even in Christian colleges, guess what? Men don't always look at the ring finger, right?
Oh, yeah.
So in those instances where you're a committed woman of God in a relationship, how do you handle when those men come up to you and try to carry conversation and you know where they're trying to go with this?
I'm sure there's a way I can be more tactful with this, but I just immediately kind of shut them down. I said, hey, buddy, I appreciate where you're going with this, but I'm married, and I show them my ring finger.
Showing that big old rock.
And I show them my ring.
Yeah.
And I can see the joy flow from their face. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I am trying to protect us before anything stupid could be entertained.
Correct. Good. Because again, this is where the enemy loves to come in, okay? And it's those innocent little conversations that flow, okay? And before you know it, it's like they're loving and massaging your ears to the point to where it's intoxicating.
Yeah.
It puts you in a trance. And
this
is how the enemy comes in, and before you know it, now you look forward, okay? If you're not guarded, you look forward to those conversations with that particular person because they are giving you daily compliments, okay? In that which should be doing only in your marriage, in your relationship. Right. So, I understand that relationships at times are in seasons to where it's a hard build. There is a struggle at times.
I do also want to add a safeguard that I do at my work. My work, I meet a lot of different people. And
yes, as a realtor.
Yeah. If I'm working with a single guy, I will request that my husband go with me to the showings. He doesn't go in the house with me, but he is outside waiting in the car if something were to take place with a single guy in the house.
And I like how you're very intentional about listening to me, okay? Mm-hmm. Not to say that you're less in or not high in awareness, but there are just some things that men naturally are already in that mindset, right?
Yeah.
And every man, I believe that God created the basic DNA to every man, and that's a protector, provider, and a problem solver. Every man has it. Mm-hmm. Okay? How they're raised up is determined by how good they are cultivated in those three areas or how poorly they're cultivated.
Yeah.
But in that protecting mode, yes, I'm very aware when you're a realtor and you're going out and you are one-on-one, the little things that I tell you, you know what I mean? Don't park in the driveway, park on the street so you can take off.
I do
when you're one-on-one and it's with one guy or a couple guys, right? You let them walk into the door first, okay? And then you trail. You don't go down the hallways. You don't show them the rooms. You let them explore themselves, right? And you keep yourself at the door while the front door is open. These are just some of the things that safeguard you that you're very well aware of, because there has been unfortunate incidences where the guy's like, hey, can you come back here?
Yeah. My very first open house, I was holding this cute little house open, and this was in like 2021. So like everybody was at this open house. There were like 100 people coming in and out of this house. But for some reason, it started to lull, and there was only one guy in the home. And the home was furnished. And I was letting him walk around, and he went to the bedroom, and he sat down on the bed, and he called.
Very back bedroom, right?
Yep. He called for me, and I went to the threshold of the door of the bedroom, and I said, "How can I help you?"
So you got space between you still?
Yeah. And he said, "Can you please come sit on this bed with me?" And I said,
when is he supposedly gauging some type of sound,
yes.
Right?
So I said, "Sir, I will absolutely not be doing that. I'm going to stand right here." And he said, "Okay, I just want to see if I can hear the traffic from the bedroom," which I understand. And later on, found out that he was autistic. And so he can hear everything. Like he can hear the refrigerator, he can hear the microwave, he can hear literally everything.
Right.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not sitting on this bed with you.
You don't know the reasons or the intentionality behind it, you know.
Yeah.
In this regard, you know, the man had no ill will towards you.
Exactly. But I was not going to put up with that.
Again, this is what we refer to as, you know, safeguarding yourself. You know, again, who has access? And this is a physical thing where you kept your distance, right?
Yeah.
Between that person, even at your work. So, last thing about access. We don't allow multiple people, or let me rephrase. We choose not to go out when we have a problem, when we're having a hard conversation, it doesn't end well. Someone called for a timeout, okay? We don't go to other people and just start blabbing, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'm not going to Tom. I'm not going to Jason. I'm not going to, you know, Randy and having, you know, oh, God, here's my wife and she's doing this again. Right. No, I keep that bickering. First and foremost, I have that under control, right? God says to take every thought captive. So that means even before I spit it out, it stops up here in the mind. So what you should be doing in those moments, you don't go and complain, bicker to other people just so that they can, what do you call that? You're asking for what from them? I can't even think of the word.
Yeah, you're basically trying to like get them on your side so that you can like commiserate
together. You want
together.
them to affirm what your point of view is, right? Yeah. Okay, so we don't go and out and just have multiple conversations, especially in a hard conversation where we had to take a pause. Okay?
Yeah.
We do not do that. Again, who has access to you? What I do have is one accountability partner. Second, I have a pastor, okay, that on either occasion, our rule is if we cannot find resolution or if we continue to have a problem after 2 attempts of trying to find the resolution, trying to reunify with each other, okay, to become as one in our marriage, my wife has full permission to call my accountability partner or the pastor so that they can reel me back into reality if I'm actually that far out.
Yeah, and they can share with you different perspectives or maybe where I'm coming from that you're not understanding or not receiving well. I did also want to point out, because we're talking about who has access to you, and while I believe that we have really healthy people that can, you know, put us back on the right track.
Yeah, multiple people.
I think it becomes a little bit more of a struggle with the women who maybe have a really close relationship with their mom, and then their mom hears, you know, all about the argument that you had with your husband.
Right.
And then if you're not careful, if you only tell her about the arguments, she can kind of start to get this perspective of your husband of like, he's not good for my daughter.
Right. Because you're giving her all the bad stuff only, And she starts building up a case
Right.
against your spouse.
Yeah.
To the point to where that's all, it's, I don't want to say it's manipulative, but it's a very,
She's just getting one perspective.
yeah, one single perspective. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always through the hardships.
Yeah.
And you don't want that.
Right.
Okay. I'm not saying that you don't go and talk to your mom or you don't go and talk to your dad. Okay. But there's a reason, okay, why God says, and a man will leave his father and mother. Okay.
Yeah.
Not that they're, how do I say this? Not that you can't go and get a good portion of knowledge and wisdom from them. Okay.
Absolutely.
But you need those people that you have already given permission in full, in a good place, to where you say, hey, I prayed about this. Will you be my accountability partner?
Mm-hmm.
I give you full access to me right now in this peaceful moment. I agree 100% that if my wife ever calls you, you have full permission to text me. You have full permission to call me. And I am confessing to you right now that I will reply immediately. I will answer if you call.
I think the benefit for having accountability partners versus always going to your parents is that the accountability partners has the opportunity to be a much more neutral party to the issues that are arising versus your in-laws or your parents, which are going to have that bias towards one of the
That's
spouses.
just by default because
they're the
they
parents.
gave you life, they raised you,
Yeah.
and so they naturally have all parents will always have a natural intuition to always protect you.
Right.
Okay, and sometimes that takes the place above,
Neutrality.
Yes. So this is why we say, yeah, go and talk to your parents about, insurances, how to buy a car,
Yeah.
how to get a house,
Yeah.
all those life things that you're going to come across at certain seasons of your life. But when it comes to having access and pouring into you with prayerful intentions, you bring someone into your life that is long walking with God, that you know is fundamentally grounded in God's word, and they're not on your side and they're not on your wife's side.
Yeah.
They are on the side of God,
Yeah.
and they want both of you to get through this. So,
Exactly.
let's move on here. Another measure in protecting your relationship is how intentional are you daily with the person you're in a relationship with? Take, for instance, are you aware on how to speak to them?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this in past podcasts.
Right.
I cannot talk to you how I naturally speak. I'm forward, I'm direct, and I'm authoritative, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can just hear it in my voice, right?
Yeah.
But when I'm talking to you, I have to speak slower. I have to speak softly. I have to speak with
Love.
somewhat extravagant words, okay, to where, it speaks directly to your heart, okay?
Yeah.
Because if I talk like this normally, how I normally do, I'm not going to hit your heart, right?
Right.
And in the past, I learned the hard way early on in our marriage. This is what shut you down. This is what made you just go, yeah, okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Okay. When in reality, you just wanted to tuck tail and run away because you didn't want to deal with me because of the aggressiveness that I had, in my natural conversation. So for those that say in the world, I've heard in my office as counseling that, well, they're just trying to change me. It's like, that's a selfish and inward thought process. The bigger picture is, if you're a person of God, there are too many scriptures about the relationship where it says, basically, it's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
So just like when you were a child, a baby, right? First, you were just a little slug trying to get around, barely moving. Then you learned how to lift up with your hands and you motion forward. Then you learned how to crawl. Then you learned how to walk around couches, with the assistance of you putting on everything, or you had your hands on the couch, your hands on the coffee table, and you're circling around. Then one day you let go of the couch, you let go of the coffee table, and boom, off you're stepping, free of any assistance. Then as you got older, guess what? You went from stepping to walking normal, and from walking normal to a very clumsy run, to where it became a fluid run, and then you're in full sprint. Okay? This is no different than how your communication should be. You have a natural state of who you are, but if you choose to be in a relationship, you choose to love somebody, you're going to figure out what's the best way to talk to their heart. Because that's when movement takes place. That's when unity takes place. And so it's not that people are trying to change you. It's just that you need to evolve your current form of communication.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think over the years, you have gotten more loving and more caring in your way that you communicate towards me.
Thank you.
And then I was incredibly passive aggressive whenever we first got married, and I would communicate, my emotions through like slamming cabinet doors or giving him the silent treatment, and he's like, oh wow, this is a nice break from her talking. It's not, it wasn't like things that clearly registered to you, she's upset with me.
No,
because I did not know that I could bluntly say, hey, I have an issue with you and we need to talk about it, because there was a lot of fear for me in that perspective.
Right.
But over the years, I have become incredibly direct with you, and you have become more loving with me, and it has been a refining tool, and we have both come into this harmonious balance of now we can lovingly and directly talk about our issues so that they get resolved.
Absolutely. So, again, you got to be intentional on your growth, especially with your communication. Another thing about being intentional is how well, or how not well, because we have had seasons to where we lacked, how well do you fill your spouse's love tank? Right?
Yeah.
Physical touch is my top. Okay, I gotta have it. It soothes me. I will say this does stem from my childhood, where there was a very huge, not small, a huge lack of physicality, to where I never got hugs. There was never a pat on the head. There was never encouragement. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was always sarcasm. It was always criticism. So that very characteristic of what a natural mother and father should do, especially in the younger years, where they're hugging you, they're holding you, that was the basic, that's like one of the first things you do as a parent, to acknowledge to your child, hey, you're safe.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
When they embrace you, when they hold you, when you're walking through a crowd and they have your hand, you know what I mean? There's a sense of safety, that the child feels when they're just like, la, 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 and therefore they don't have a care in the world, right? But the moment that hand gets let go, that child goes into a secondary phase of like, what, where's my parents? What's going on? And they're looking around. So the physicality of the natural evolvement of that protection, that love that should have been there, was never there for me.
Yeah.
Right? And so this feeds into my love language. I've since been healed from that, but I take great joy knowing that my wife, high percentage of always feeling my love taken daily. At one point there was a little bit of a struggle, right? Because that's not your natural way of giving love.
I'm recalling a time where I did really struggle was postpartum, because
yes.
The baby is always on you. The baby's nursing. The baby is needing to be held. The baby's needing to be rocked. and you get touched out very quickly. And so the last thing that I really wanted to do was to touch you or caress you whenever you got home. But I did, but there was a lull during that time frame because my touch tank was, being overflowed during the day. So whenever you got home, there was like, I just need space. Take the baby. I'm going to take a shower.
Right. And see, in those seasons to where, they do shift, okay, you have to, as a spouse, if there is a lack or if there is something drastic, like a child coming into your guys' relationship, and that extra portion of responsibility, we have to pour out that grace. Okay? We have to extend patience, knowing that right now it's not always going to be this way.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's just temporary.
And you have the wonderful, in this regard, when it comes to the child, you have the wonderful responsibility to bring a person into this world, to disciple them, to bring them up in the ways of God and His Word. And that is a joint effort, okay? So it's not that my wife was not purposely not filling my tank in that regard. It's just that things shifted. It was no longer just her and I in the relationship.
Yeah.
Right? This is still our marriage, but now there is the byproduct of a loving, wonderful, godly marriage was our son.
Yeah.
Okay? So be intentional with what your spouse needs as far as the love tank. Because, again, it might not be what you naturally do. Right?
Yeah. And I will say, like, there are rewards for keeping your spouse's love tank full.
Yes, there is.
Like, it's not just give.
Right.
It's
the byproduct. It's the blessing on the other side of obedience.
Yeah, like reciprocated.
Yeah. Like take for instance, in every marriage, okay, there's a person that likes to that wants sex more, right? Okay. And I'm not saying I do this to get that, but when I feel my wife's love tank, it is a much more receptive, okay? It is much more willingness, with joy, I might add, because I'm feeling your portion of the love tank. Yeah. You know what I mean? How many times I can't remember, how do I say this? There have been so many times to where I'm like, my wife's having a very long day today. I see them big old pile of dishes in there. I guess I'm going to go do those dishes.
Yeah.
And you come home and there's like the biggest smile on your face. You know what I mean? When you see me doing them dishes.
Yeah.
Or like last week, you were doing laundry. And I see you came out with one basket and you put it on the couch, and then you came out with a secondary basket. Yep. And you're like, I guess laundry's my life today. And in that moment, I heard the Holy Spirit, Mario, you can help her. And so when I went in there, I didn't ask, and I just started grabbing clothes, and I started folding with you. And that uplifted your spirit so much, right?
Yeah.
It just changed the whole atmosphere. It's amazing by one moment of obedience can just change the whole rest of the day within your marriage. So I encourage you, men, to be on the lookout for ways that you can help, that you can be as one, that you can feel the love tank of your wife. You just have to figure out what they like. And obviously, one of those things is acts of service. My wife loves it when I do things that that make her life easier.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I was going to clarify and say maybe not go into it thinking about how she's going to feel loved. But another perspective you can go into it is most moms or most busy women, most busy wives are going to appreciate anything that's going to make their load a little bit lighter in the day, so that the marriage can feel like a team.
Right. 100% agreed. Okay, so last one here. When it comes to protecting your relationship, the question is, are you centering yourself daily, recentering yourself? And what I mean by that is, here you go, ladies and gentlemen, the big mystery of it all in order to have a prosperous, joyful, wonderful marriage, even through hardships, where you always land looking up with a smile. You got to have God at the center of it.
Amen.
And more to open that portion of it is like, we've talked about this in previous sessions. Every believer in Christ has a core as a Christian that you must do every day, right?
Yeah.
And that is read, pray, listen, worship.
Yeah.
Read God's word every day. Pray and be thankful. Ask for forgiveness. Lift up the things that are important or that are current in your situation that you need to bring to the courts of heaven. Take time, intentional time, to where you just turn everything off. Put the phone down, no music, no nothing. Just sit quietly. God, what would you like to speak to me about today? What do I need to bring to you today? What is it that I'm not seeing today? Where do I need to grow today? These simple little questions, and then pause and just sit quietly. It's amazing how God will speak to you in these moments.
It is.
Okay? And then lastly is always worship. Worship can be done throughout the whole day, right?
Correct.
There are so many moments of time throughout everybody's day, right? Whether you're at work, whether you're with the kids, whether you're at a social event, family event, where you have these pockets of time to where nothing's really going on. So are you going to be intentional in allowing worship to take place? Or are you going to brain rot and just watch endless reels? Right?
Yeah.
So worship, it can be done while you're in the shower. Put some worship music on. That can be done while you're driving to work, right?
Absolutely.
You could be humming a particular song while you're putting on makeup.
Accurate.
Right? You can have worship music while you're cooking. You can have the AirPods on while you're outside mowing the yard. You can have the AirPods on while you're washing the cars. Any given moment, you can always have worship and be in that posture of acknowledging, surrendering, giving thanks in the form of worship of who God is and the wonderful things that he does in your life. So is what I refer to as there's a spiritual tank right here at the core of who you are. And if that thing's not full every day, you're not going to be able to love well. You're not going to be able to be disciplined in your actions. And then by default, if you're not full spiritually, that means the opposite of it is that the world has a hold, right?
It's accurate.
And them emotions are going to take charge
Yeah.
in every single moment. And you're going to lash out. You're going to have a hardened heart. You're going to get frustrated easy. You're going to get angered easy. Them words are going to fly out, and they ain't going to be godly. They're not going to be uplifting or building. You're going to be in destructive mode.
Yeah. And you're going to wonder, why do I feel so tired? Why
Yeah.
do I feel so burnt out?
Yeah.
Well, it's because you haven't been connected to the source.
Yes. Right? Now, I'm so glad you pointed that out because, when you're married, your wife is a resource. Your spouse is a resource for things that you can pull from, but they're not the source of it all, right? God gives you a person that is not 100% going to fulfill every part of what you need. If that was the case, you wouldn't need God.
That's so
Right?
true.
God
That's so
gives you a
true.
person who is not going to do it all. So by default, in those moments, in those seasons to where they lack or there is a disconnect between the two of you, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
That should convict you as a reminder to look up and to call upon God because he is the source of everything.
And it doesn't mean that you're in the wrong relationship. I feel like a lot of ladies are like, he's not meeting my needs. He's not meeting my standards. And they then assume that that is because the relationship is not meant to be.
Oh, here's the same mistake again.
And that's not necessarily what that means. It means I would ask them, okay, how's your relationship with the Lord? How is, are you spending time in prayer every day? Are you reading your word?
That goes back to how you're communicating, right? You could very well be talking to your spouse and there's something that they're not doing right or a lack of. But if you're not presenting it to them in the right way, guess what? There will be no conviction, none whatsoever on the other side. Matter of fact, they will sit dead smack, folded arms, stubborn, shut down, and they will not listen to a word you say if you bring it to them in the wrong way. And that's the honest truth.
That's true.
Because you got to speak to their heart. Have you learned how to communicate with your spouse?
Yeah,
right?
I think it's pretty damaging for a man to hear from a woman, you're not meeting my needs, because men are providers.
Right.
And so I can just see like the air come out of their wings, basically.
That very statement, you're not meeting my needs.
Yeah.
That kills a man.
Right. It's like, well, what am I good for?
Yes.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, how I do, it's just not good enough then.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so damaging. Instead of saying you're not meeting my needs, you bring it to your husband later on and, in a quiet moment, hey, do you have a moment?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, hey, I know we're going through a hard season right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are a lot of things that have our attention, I would love if you would. I need a little extra when it comes to this. Can you do this for me? That would really help me get through the day. That will help me be connected to you.
Mm-hmm.
I just need a little bit of extra in this.
That's so good.
When you present it that way, guess what? Men love a challenge. Okay?
Uh-huh.
They love to, chin up, chest out. Yes, I can do that, and then charge into the moment.
Yeah.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Especially from their wife. You guys, as a wife, as the ladies in the relationship, they always say, you got to submit, and all that. Hey, guess what? A submitted wife actually controls a lot in the relationship. A man will do anything when there is unity and he sees a submitted wife.
Wow.
Okay? You guys have a lot of control in the relationship. So.
You're like, as you wish.
Yes. As you wish. But when he sees his wife protecting the marriage, right? Mm-hmm. As I saw one time on what was it? It was some type of I don't want to say as a report, but
article.
Yes, thank you. It was an article, and it said this is a man's biggest flex is having a woman by his side that no other man has access to. Mm. And that speaks volumes to every man. Okay? When I don't have to, hey, why is that guy talking to you? Or, hey, why are you acting that way? Mm-hmm. Hey, why are you wearing it like that? Why are you wearing that? Why would you go outside in that? When it's risque.
Yeah.
When the norm is, you never wear that. And when he sees his wife being so purposeful in protecting the relationship, my goodness, that's that classic worldly term, a ride and die chick. Okay? We love that, right? When there is no person on earth that can get access to you, that can talk to you, there is such a maturity and growth in who you are that you're like, no, sir, no, I'm very quite content. I'm as one. I'm unified with my husband.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm happily married. Goodbye. And I want to say that it's the same for a wife, and she can then feel safe with her husband, and knowing that her husband only has eyes for her, only has desire for her, only has a want to provide for her and the kids. there is such a safety that comes from that.
Yes. Because after all, part of our job as a husband is always to give assurance.
Yeah.
To you.
And I will say that that's like a huge appreciation for you as a husband, because I never, and I mean never, have to worry about who's in your DMs, who's in your phone, what are you looking at, who's, who are you following on Instagram? I do not have to worry about that, because we have these boundaries and these safeguards in place in our marriage.
And furthermore, you have access to my phone.
Oh, at any
if
time.
my wife says, "Hey, I need to see your phone," I instantly just hand it over.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know
and
my
vice
passwords.
versa.
You have the face recognition to where you can open my phone. You can look at anything.
Absolutely.
And that's because I'm intentional about what I do, what I look at, and what I hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he has all my passwords too. Like, he can look at my phone at any time.
That is being as one, ladies and gentlemen. There is zero in secrecy when it comes to a relationship. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
All or nothing.
And it's so beautiful. Like, whenever you're in this level of safety in the relationship, I don't worry about you going outside of the relationship at all, the marriage at all, and you don't worry about me.
Right.
And we can just focus on building up one another.
And that's because we've been proactive in every aspect of what we need to do.
Yeah, and I think some people would think that this is overkill, but like, the threat is very real.
Yes, it is.
So this is not overkill. This is needed.
Very much needed. So, last thing about when it comes to protecting your relationship, are you centered every day? Okay. One of the things I want to say, it's not that we don't go out every day, but we recenter our relationship by going out and being intentional with quality time. Us. Okay. There's a difference between going out as a family.
Yeah.
And a difference between you and an I.
Yeah.
And in these moments, right, we just had one. Okay. We sit down, whether we're at a park. Normally, we always start out with going out to eat somewhere, right?
Our favorite thing is going out to eat.
Yes, we love food. We love foodies.
Oh, it's too bad. It's too much.
After we order, the infamous questions come out, right? And this is being truthful with each other, right? This is giving that safe place for each other to where those questions are, hey, guess what? How was your purity this week? Right?
Yeah.
What can I do to improve? And what do you need extra in this season?
Yep.
Now, hear me, folks. You're going to get triggered if you haven't been building your relationship the right way, or if you're early on in the relationship, okay? Because here you go. Here's the awakening part in a relationship. Prior to you being in a relationship, your natural process in thinking when you're single, when you're growing up, is this a good direction for me? Is this the right move for me? Is this the best choice for me? When you get into a relationship, this mindset actually takes a little time to change. And through the process of building a relationship, through the process of connecting spiritually, emotionally, and at the very end, physically, on the day of your Holy Covenant, your mindset changes. Even with Scripture, if hopefully that you got God into the center of it, to where it reminds you, it tells you, it shows you that the relationship is not about you. So then the mindset changes. Is this the best direction for us? Is this the right place for us?
Yeah.
Is this the best choice for us?
Exactly.
And it changes you, okay? In other words, you evolve. And you're evolving into a holy covenant. To understanding that it's as one.
Exactly.
And you have to partner with each other. So being intentional, recentering yourself, or in this case, recentering your relationship, we try to go out at least every 10 days. Every 10 days, we try to go do something to where it's just her and I, and we always ask these questions.
Yeah.
How's your purity? Where can I improve?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you need extra in?
Yeah.
And you got to humble yourself, because you might be thinking, hey, guess what?
I'm killing it.
I'm killing it. I'm doing the best ever. And all of a sudden, these questions come out and they're like, well, I need extra in this. And you're just like, what? Huh? What? Check yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like in productions and movies and all that, hey, fix your face. Fix your face. Don't let, discouragement come out in the form of, your facial expression, your body demeanor, just listen. Okay. It's not your perspective. It's, what your spouse is actually feeling over there on the other side.
It's true.
And if they say they need extra where you thought you were killing it, then guess what? You need to take it further.
There have been a couple times where I have asked you that question, and I think that I'm killing it at physical touch. And I'm, every night I'm like rubbing your head, rubbing your ears, rubbing your back. And then you're like, I need more. And I'm like, okay, all right. I thought I was doing great, but apparently not. And then I was able, I remember that time we were able to elaborate, and you were like, yeah, you do good at night, but like, I need more during the day. And I was like, okay, there was a clarity on that one.
Yeah. No. Oh, so what you're saying is ask secondary questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was a moment where I was like, what do you mean? I was wanting to get defensive.
Ooh, yeah, you had to.
And I was like, I touch you every night. What do you mean?
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah.
I
stayed curious.
We're in the bedroom, about to go to bed. You're caressing me,
curious,
rubbing my hair, all that, But it's like, what are you doing when we're in the car together?
Yeah, exactly. That part.
I look over and I'm
on the phone,
scrolling away, brain rotting, right?
Well,
or here you go,
or
ready?
Working.
This is what really kills. I'm not saying now, but back in that moment, in that season where you had your arm halfway over, and the fingers were barely they were moving, and they paused.
Well,
touching me.
In my defense,
and then they were touching,
and
then they'd move a little bit more, caressing me, and then they'd stop. And when I look down, right, while I'm trying to drive, but I see when you stop, and then I glance over real quick, and you're over there. Not at night. Okay. You're over there giggling, right? Or you pull your hand away, and you're just like, and you're texting yourself. I'm just like, oh. So something else had her attention more than being intentional with me.
Yeah.
Right?
I was with you, but I wasn't with you.
Correct. Yeah. There you go. So again, ladies and gentlemen, be intentional with each other when it comes to this. Recentering daily, weekly when it comes to your relationship. How intentional are you when it comes to conversating, when it comes to filling each other's love tank? And then, who has access to you personally? Who has access to your relationship to speak life into it? These are all crucial elements when it comes to building the relationship. Because if you don't have these things, then guess what? You're by default, you're spiritually speaking, you're leaving the back door open to your house.
Exactly. Your defenses are down.
Yes. And when that happens, guess what? Oh, how the enemy loves to throw one thing in, but it's holding hands with something else. Mm-hmm. So first, frustration walks in with, or spitefulness walks in with frustration. And then frustration walks in with anxiety. Then anxiety turns into depression. And then depression turns into a whole level of changing the demeanor in who you are, how you look at the other person. And man, it is just, it's an ugly slope that you slide down. So be intentional. Protect your relationship. Keep it Christ-centered, and I promise you, you will get it right. Well, you have anything else you want to say?
No, we pretty much covered it.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today. We want to thank you for stopping in and listening. Appreciate all your guys' support. And until the next time, you guys stay blessed and keep it Christ-centered.